Welcome, everyone. I'm very glad today to have Dr. Cosmas Maduka, who is the chairman of Coscharis Farms. And he has an amazing life story over the past 40 years. Came from very humble background and started working from age of 13, 14, and has built probably one of the larger conglomerates in Nigeria across many different sectors. In automobile, in technology, in food and beverages. And about 4 years ago, decided he was going to venture into agriculture, which was quite a change from what he's done in the past. And the process has built with his team a pretty impressive integrated rice operation, irrigated large commercial mill outgrower schemes. So I'm very honored to have him here today. To share his story and his experiences. And I think, what we'll do to kick off the session is I'll show a 4-minute video on his farming operations so you can get a direct sense of what it looks like. And after that, we'll then go into the Q&A. So I'm going to cue up the video right.
Hello and welcome. My name is Mezuo, and I'm a principal at Sahel Capital Agri Business Managers Limited. We're quite excited today to be taking you on a tour of one of our portfolio companies, Coscharis Farm Limited. We wish you could be here to see it in person, but we promise to make the best of this digital tour as we walk you through the operations of the company. Please come along with me and let's take you on the tour of the company.
You are welcome to Coscharis Farms Limited. 6 years ago, we started a journey of becoming the benchmark for agribusiness in Nigeria. We set out to build an integrated farm business, starting with a 2,500 hectares of rice farm in Anak, Anambra State, and integrated a 6,000 metric ton capacity rice processing mill in Ibariam, also in Anambra State. Let us show you how far we have come.
Coscharis Farm was started this project in 2014, but basically farm development activity started in 2015. The farm sits on about 2,500 hectares, and everything seen here today did not exist 5 years ago. Over the 5 years, the company cleared 2,500 hectares farmland and leveled 1,200 hectares. The company built a 38.6 kilometer drainage system, 27 kilometer road network on the farm, and finished 100 kilometer of access road. To prevent instant flooding on the farm, the company built a 9-kilometer dike, which is 23.5 meter height around the farm. The company also constructed drainage pumps at the eastern and western side of the farm. All these heavy-duty projects were made possible because of outstanding team put together by the company and the massive array of farm equipment invested in.
The first process is cleaning. We clean the paddy through the classifier and the destoner to remove stones. After that, we take the paddy through certain machines for hulling or dehusking, where we dehusk and separate the husk from the paddy to have brown rice. The brown rice is now taken through whitening, through various stages of whitening, and then polishing. We polish the rice, and then we take it through grading and sorting. At grading and sorting, we remove all undersized grains, and then the color sorter removes all discolored grains. We then send it to the milling beans, the rice beans. In order to complement the paddy we get from our farm, we have decided to work with our smallholder farmers in our host community to ensure that we offtake the paddy that they are planting, because the host community around us is actually a rice farming community. So we have identified farmers who can do rice farming and decide to support these farmers with input and other agricultural assistance to farm for us.
We engage the farmers because the Coscharis, they help the farmers to get support for their farming, and after everything they will buy back. So in that case, we are trying to bring more people because they are adding serious more value in everything that we are doing now.
Environmental, social, and governance procedures have been very critical to the operations of Coscharis Farms Limited. The company has over the years deployed appropriate food safety, environmental and quality management system to enhance their operations. They have also developed sound cordial relationship with their host communities through the deployment of social impact projects and employment of indigenes within their host communities.
The relationship between the Coscharis and I am farmers indigenes are very, very good.
Welcome back from the tour. Really do hope you had the opportunity to get a full glimpse of the entire Coscharis farm operations, as well as the outstanding team driving performance on ground. Thank you very much for your time.
So great. So I wanted to make sure that you saw the visuals of what the operation looked like, and the you know, even that video doesn't do full justice because there are over 10 kilometers of roads, there are many kilometers of irrigation, and huge volumes of rice paddy aggregated from both the commercial farm and smallholder farmers, and which feed into a 36,000 ton a year rice mill, and which so then supplies the Nigerian market. So very huge operation. Now, so first of all, welcome, Dr. Maduka. So thank you for giving the time. And over the past 40 years, you've built this huge conglomerate in many different sectors. What made you decide to venture into agriculture and into rice?
Thank you, Mezuo. It's my pleasure to be with you this morning or stroke afternoon, depending on where you are connected to. Basically, as an entrepreneur, we always look out for opportunity and cash into it when it presents itself. Our business have been geared towards automobile-related parts and components, information technology, health, and other sector. But I've always believed that by the time I turn 65, 70, I will retire. And so about 30 years ago, I started acquiring this piece of property. As a matter of fact, we got it from different owners. It's not easy to find a huge piece of property like that. And eventually acquire close to 3,000 hectares of land in Anyana. But then thinking what to do with it, agriculture has always been in my mind, something I love. I grew up in the farm as a kid, trying to help my poor mother and my grandparents that raised me up as a toddler. So I've always had in mind that this is something I'm going to do. But preparation meeting opportunity, after acquiring this piece of property, I listened to a presentation a couple of years ago where the World Bank is saying that by 2050, Nigeria will be the most thought population on the world. After China, India, and Nigeria will be over 500 million people. And I looked at indices. I find Nigeria is spending, as of then, over $3 billion to import rice. And I asked myself, wait a minute, if we are under 200 million people, we are spending we are spending over $3 billion to import rice. What will it be by the time we are 500 million people? So again, opportunity present himself. A few years ago, an agri company in Nigeria that used to be quoted in New York Exchange, that is a Syngenta, their head office is based in Switzerland. We are trying to divest from their Nigeria operation. So Coscharis took them over. We bought over this company and they became a subsidiary of Coscharis. And I saddled the management of this company to help me go back to this land, test it, and tell me what best can grow from it. And they came back to said rice would be the best thing to plant there. That was how the vision to implant rice was born. So this company, we changed the name from Syngenta to Swiss Biostat, was actually the brain behind Coscharis getting into full integrated rice production in this place. I think that's the story in a nutshell. So it's about preparation, meeting an opportunity, looking forward to the future. Our idea is trying to target to get 30 or 40% of this business opportunity that presents itself
in Nigeria. And here we are today. Thank you, Mezuo.
No, excellent. So there's a huge opportunity you saw, and even recapping, Nigeria went from eating very little rice 30 years ago to consuming roughly 7-8 million tons a year, and very clear that you saw the opportunity and decided to go after that aggressively. Now, this couldn't have been easy to do, and I'm sure that there've been all kinds of challenges that you faced during the journey, because agriculture is not easy, even though there's opportunity. What challenges did you encounter, and then how did you resolve these challenges over the years?
Enormous challenges. Number one was community issue, because like I said, we acquired this piece of property close to 30 years ago, and I left it blank. So by the time I came back to develop this farm, I became a captive market for the community. Everybody, I was like a container that landed in the port, want to clear me. But you see, it's good always to prepare and wait for opportunity. But I think 6 years ago, when the current governor of Anambra State called the indigenes of Anambra State to share his 7 pillars of economic development in Anambra State, and one of the pillars was agriculture. And during question and answer, I raised my hand. Incidentally, he hailed from the community where I purchased this piece of property. And I told him this is what happened, and I'm planning to come back there. But his community has been, so that is not a problem. He's going to call a meeting to resolve whatever the issue is. And to the fact of it, by next week, he get his commissioner of agriculture, get the community to say, look, if you create any problem, you are undoing me. I'm looking for investors to bring in investment in this state. He looked at the paper, there was a proper C of O, there was a proper transaction. So he tried to pacify the villagers and asked me to move in. So the moral support we received from him was a booster. And there we are. We did the groundbreaking, I think, in 2015. Of course, we hire all the employees and start getting all the equipments together. And so to clear that land was one of the greatest challenge, because it's a piece of property that has never been cultivated. There was a lot of challenges. It's a model area. There was no culvert or bridge to be able to access the land. We had to bring down several tons of trees and tonnage and move them. Preparing rice field is a big challenge, because rice is a wheat that grew on a mud. So the land preparation was very, very challenging, but community issue was one of the challenges. But, once there is a will with the right mental attitude, you will get wherever you want to go. So today, people see those places and look like God created it like that. But I can tell you, it's a lot of hard work that has become a reality to the glory of God. Thank you.
Yes, and I know that the land was uneven. You had to use GPS machinery to level the land before you can plant.
That's right.
And, at the same time, you've also had to deal with climate change related issues.
That's right.
With flooding, and then each year trying to address how you dealt with flooding issues. And, flooding can devastate an entire operation. So could you speak a little bit about some of that flooding over the years and the different things you did each year to overcome that challenge, to build back better and to address the flooding issues each year?
We've had flood challenges in 3 consecutive years, in the last 3 years. Obviously, we are located in what I can call a waterway. It wasn't just a rain flood, but Anambra State is a little bit down below other states like Benue State. So when the rain over, because of the global challenges that are continuing to occur, you find out that in the last 3 years, the Cameroon released their dam. And of course, we get information, it goes all down, comes from Anambra State, then went to the what we call a Delta State, and then empty out into Atlantic Ocean. we've had this challenge now in 3 consecutive years between late October or middle of September, middle of October, but before November. So what we've tried to do was that we've invested over 3 billion naira in the last 3 years for irrigation farming, because this is really a fully integrated farm project. So this year was our first year of a dry season farming. We took up the first crop and planted the second one. We've learned a lot from where we are coming from, and we believe we will master it. The flood again occurred this year, but we were conscious of it, that we planted only 400 hectares for this rainy season, unlike the experiences we have over the years where we plant over 1,000 or 2,000 hectares and the whole thing is covered by the flood. We are very determined to solve this problem. So this year we took a risk, only 400 hectares. But what we have decided to do for next year, like now, the water has receded and we are doing everything we can to plant in this month of November, at least 1,200 hectares, so that by February, March, we will harvest and do the second planting season. By August, we should be done. So we want to concentrate in 2 crop seasons until we understand how the global weather system is going. So we think confidently by next year, we will have a bond harvest for 2 dry seasons with the irrigation that is in place today. So it's been very challenging with the flooding system because of the location of the piece of the property. But, we found ourselves, but we have the determination to survive, and we put all the plans in place to withstand this challenge. Oh, Mezuo, I can't hear you. You muted. Can you unmute yourself? Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Okay,
I know from visiting the farm that, quite impressive. You have, dikes, 24-meter mean sea level protecting the farm. I know you've leveraged insurance to help and staggering your cultivation as well to mitigate some of these issues, plus dry season farming to reduce risk farming through the year. Yeah. Now, you've been able to execute on this because you have a very strong, beyond your passion and drive, you have a strong team around you that's very technical.
That's right.
And then you've also, a couple years ago, decided to go beyond your team and partner with us at Sahel Capital, which we're very happy you decided to do. Now, could you talk a little bit about, why you decided to partner with Sahel, and also recommendations you may have for other business people who are also thinking of looking for partners as well in their journey?
Yes, Mezuo, I look backwards to, I think, 2016 when we sat in my office and discussed this. It was also amazing to me. The first thought that came into my mind is that, is this guy crazy? Do you understand what it means into farming? A lot of people look at farm and thought it was just, a picnic. No, I've always believed that this is one business. If you don't have a strong capital, you should not venture into. And to the best of my knowledge, all the investors I have witnessed before this time want already finished business that is sounding well. It was I couldn't put it together that there is an investor willing to invest in agricultural field. So I was actually I was tickled, like, does he understood what he's talking about? Does he really mean it? Or, okay, so, but the reality is that when I discussed with the rest of my board and we say, okay, sure, we think we need a partner, and looking at it that you are going to bring some value to the board, let us share some information with us, the best practices. This is a new area of business. We've never have any, it's just passion and determination, like characterize the Coscharis organization, but there's no depth experience except the company we acquire that could also give us some information. But Sahel is known with agricultural business, have invested in other areas of farm. So we thought, no, this would be a good partnership. And to the fact about it, in 2018, we exchanged signature, and you guys came on board and invested. And to the best of our knowledge, we think it's been a rewarding experience. You've strengthened the board by some of the discipline you brought into it, and attracted some independent directors that joined the board that has helped us to where we are. So I think, to the best of my knowledge and my belief, we are making a great progressive achievement with the Coscharis farm. And at the end of the day, it will be a model and a reference point for some of the young generation, and it will be an enterprise that that will be very rewarding. That's my experience for now. So thank you for initially making that proposal, and to the fact, and you stood to it. I thought you were joking initially when you committed to me. Now I'm being very honest. I thought, oh, this guy should look at other Jewish areas of my business: automobile, Rolls-Royce, BMW, Jaguar Land Rover, Ford. We are trying to build a Ford plant there. Why are you not looking at investing in those areas, but in agriculture? But you really surprised me. But I think we are glad that we like you guys, and that has brought a lot of value to our board. Thank you.
No, thank you. And I'm looking at some of the questions that people are asking, and many of the questions are around operational issues. And I see one that was asking, why did we decide to use I guess I'm assuming they're referring to flood irrigation versus maybe pivot irrigation. I suspect, probably concerns about water management. And I know that the framework for our irrigation was linked to in another farm you saw. But could you speak a little bit about one, irrigation, and then why you decided to go with the particular irrigation format?
Okay, fine. We are bordered by two big rivers, Anambra River and the Ju River, by the east side and by the west side. Like I said, we have a very limited time in this farm, in this land farm. Like you have mentioned, we have dike, about 25-meter dike. We are gradually trying to get it to 30-meter, and we have 3 pump stations. The main big base pump station to pump water through irrigation, and another 2 pump stations on the east side and the west side to be able to take water out of the farm during the flooding area. So water is really not the issue, and you can do the other type of irrigation that is good for corn, but rice actually like a muddy area where water is the source of the life of rice. So our consultant came from Australia, who did all the check, because I was also concerned what happened if after 2-3 dry season farming and the water will go away. But they assured us that based on the depth of the river, that it will never be a matter of concern. And more so, in the area where we are located, there are no second integrated farming system like the one we are doing. All the other things are done manually and locally. So it only need maybe several number of farms like ourselves to begin to express such concern of the demand on water. So it's not an issue at all based on our consultancy's information that we are relying upon.
Okay, no, great. And then, while I wait for more questions to come through, how are you thinking about long-term plans for Coscharis Farms, next steps for you, where you want to build the business to? How are you thinking of those long-term plans?
Mezuo, clearly, I think Nigerians need to wake up. We are almost in a hurry of a finished product. This is a painstaking investment, but ultimately that will pay well. Nigeria, young generations, eating habit has changed. during my generation, is cassava and yam is the key food. Rice for us is a luxurious food, but as we grew up since 40 years ago, the taste changed completely. Of course, it's moving again to noodle, but quite a number of, I would say, average Nigeria eat rice as their first meal, like in Asia, you know, almost part of Asian country. So the opportunity in rice business is enormous. What we are targeting, we are under 200 million people and spending about $3 billion to import rice. Just think if we become 300 or 400 and not talk about the 500 million people, rice business in Nigeria likely going to be $10–15 billion business. If Coscharis capture, just say 30% of this business or 50% of this business, where do you think it puts us on the wrong ground 20, 30 years ago coming? So what we are doing is that we are planning to implant mills in other areas of Nigeria, not concentrating. We didn't want to do some of the things some of our colleagues do 120,000 tons of mill in one place where you are not going to get paddy to fit in. As we see land opportunity available in other locations where we plant 50, 60,000 metric ton or 40,000 metric ton rice mill, and then farm rice and then look for agri in that same area. So rice business and milling is actually going to be one of the ultimate core business of Coscharis organization on the wrong ground. Like I'm saying, we passed through COVID. Many businesses are not doing well, but today we cannot produce enough rice for Nigerians to eat. Whatever we produce, people pay us money 1 month in advance. A business where you don't make advertisement and customers provide you the finance to do it, you can hardly find a sweeter and better business like this. So it requires challenges because you also need a huge capital to get into this business. So it's a business that have barrier entering. It's not everybody that can come into it for what it requires. So we've taken the bull by the horn, but I am assuring you this business may eventually become 50% of the entire Coscharis group business between the next, now in the next 10 to 15 years. That's where I foresee it going.
Thank you very much. We have a few more questions, but I think we've run out of time. And so I don't know whether you want any last words. And I think for the remaining questions, we'll try and send is around technology and route to market. But we'll try and send those answers by text in the chat. But I want to thank Dr. Maduka for his time. I mean, he's done very impressive work. If you ever happen to be in Eastern Nigeria, you can come and visit it. I know in the expo section, we have a full-length 8-minute video that shows the entire operation. And it's not easy to do from scratch and the way he's done it. So very impressive. Thank you, Dr. Maduka, for your work and your efforts and your time. And we wish you well for the rest of the day. Thank you very much. And thank you everyone that attended this session. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you, Mezuo. It's a pleasure to have shared this information and the experience with the others. Thank you for partnering with us. We salute the Sahel group for the confidence you express in our little organization and the few things we've been able to achieve. We are very, very grateful for